Also, I'm sure you're just a little bit curious about who I am and whether I'm even qualified to help you out with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the next few moments to introduce myself and show you why I built this and what it can do for you. My name is Tony. I grew up in Morgan Hill, California, just outside of the Bay Area. Fun fact, I grew up next to a field where they grew chili crops. If you look, that's my house right there. And if you look right there, that is literally the field that how I used to go play in as a kid. So this is literally the definition of small town in the middle of nowhere. Now, I wanted to be an artist and I was chasing that dream at 17, but I had no budget and no access to studios because, well, I was 17 in a small town. So I had to figure it out the hard way, piecing together budget gear with whatever I had. And what I learned early is that access to studios should never be a variable for my success, because the artists who figured it out weren't the ones who got into the right rooms first. It was the ones who were willing to make it happen no matter what. And during that time, I was able to release 2 independent EPs and a few singles. By 19, I convinced my parents to let me move to LA, but they had one condition: I had to go to school. So I enrolled in audio engineering school, and something happened. Something I didn't expect. I fell in love with the engineering side of things, recording people, being in the room, and just connecting with as many people as I could. And the more I learned about the recording process, the more I realized that this whole making music sound good, it's actually a system with a series of specific steps. And once you understand the system, you can make quality music every single time. And from there, I just ran with it. I was a 20-year-old kid with no responsibilities, so I just started doing 12 to 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. I would show up to every session I could get into. I offered to record literally anybody with a pulse, and I just took every opportunity I could. And eventually through that, I was able to land an internship inside of a songwriting camp where I would be able to record under Grammy-nominated producers and songwriters. I was able to sit next to them every day, watched how they actually worked, and got my process corrected in real time on real songwriting sessions that I would record with them. And what I realized being in those rooms is that the magic happens a lot less in the technical side of things, and it's more in the speed to idea. At the highest levels of creativity, when you reach that true flow state, the ideas burst out rapidly, and you have to be able to catch them while you're in that flow state. And that's how you get your best sounding music that actually feels how you intended it. So I learned that creating a process that cuts down on all of the technical friction, having the proper templates, proper recording chains pre-built, ready to go, was super essential to making hit records, because it brings that speed to idea to near zero. And this is the exact same system that I want to give to you. Now, at 22, I opened up my first studio. Every artist that I have been running sessions with around town, they all just followed me there. And overnight, I went from overlooked to overbooked. I mean, that year alone when I opened up that studio, I engineered over 1,000 songs in a single year. I ran up 250 verified credits. I was able to run sessions with Grammy-nominated artists and songwriters like BB Burelli, who wrote Bitch Better Have My Money for Rihanna, Kenyon Dixon, 5-time Grammy-nominated R&B artist, Stacey Barth, who writes for Beyonce, Miley Cyrus, and even featured as an artist on Nipsey Hussle's Grammy-nominated album Victory Lap. Plus, artists that I've recorded like Tave and J Loud went on to getting signed to Warner and subsidiaries of Atlantic using records that I recorded with them. But the thing that I noticed is that even working at those high levels, the chain and the workflow that I used in those rooms was the same chain that I've been refining since I started in my bedroom. And whether I would show up to a songwriting session in someone's apartment or I would be in some multi-million-dollar studio, the room isn't what made it sound professional. The system and the templates is what made it sound consistent enough to get somebody noticed and signed. And out of all the artists that I worked with, the ones who made the biggest waves only did one thing. They had consistent quality being output over time. That's the equation. Record quality plus release consistently equaled get noticed. Simple, right? I mean, at my peak, again, I was doing this for 250 plus artists at the same time, still doing 15-hour days, 7 days a week for 5 years straight. At the end of it, I burned out and I had to take a step away completely for a year to recoup. But here's where the true realization of everything happened for me. When I came back, out of those 250 artists, only about 30 were still making music. And that hit me super hard. I felt super guilty. I worked with these people one-on-one and they weren't bad artists. They were all talented people with real songs and a lot of potential. When I left, their momentum had died. They didn't have a system to get it back. They had put their entire creative engine on me, and when I disappeared, so did their music career. And that's when I understood the real problem. It had nothing to do with talent or access to nice studios. It was that they never owned their process for creating music. And the moment that one of those dependencies broke, they were left stuck with no path forward. Now, right around the time when I came back and I reopened my studio, I also had a kid, and I realized I couldn't go back to that 15 hours a day every single day now that I'm a new dad. But more than that, even if I could, I'd just be rebuilding the same dependency trap for artists, and I just wasn't down for that. So I decided to do something different, and I spent 2 years building the foundations for this. I built this so that artists can feel truly free to be creative and own their own path to success. So that way, if me or somebody like me stepped out of the picture, their momentum doesn't die because it runs on something they own. I mean, that's the whole point. Your career shouldn't depend on anyone else's availability. Your success should be controlled by you. So that's what the recording blueprint is and the 30-day install. And that's why I built it.